Hey everyone, you're watching a breakout from the GameSpot After Dark podcast in which we discuss the new Steam Deck, which is Valve's portable gaming PC. Is it any good? Who knows? Is it going to replace a Switch? Listen to us and find out. And more importantly, will it fit into your gaming life? That's a question for you to answer. If you enjoy this, make sure to subscribe to the GameSpot After Dark podcast, where we go through plenty more topics and have a whole lot of banter. It's good, fun stuff. Wholesome. Check it out. Steam, Valve, releasing a portable gaming PC. That's just wild. So Steam has announced something called the Steam Deck, not to be confused with the Elgato Stream Deck.
I literally thought that's what you were talking about for the first 2 minutes.
Why would we talk about a new Stream Deck?
I've already seen multiple people tweet a picture of an Elgato Stream Deck with the Wii Switch Joy-Cons taped to the side.
Wow, that's pretty good.
There you go. But yeah, this is a portable gaming PC. It's decent specs. We can rattle off like some basic stuff. Specifically, Valve worked with AMD to create a custom APU. It's got Zen 2, RDNA 2. It's got a 7-inch touchscreen with capacitive multi-touch. It's got trackpads for precision. It's got gyro if you want to do some of that motion-controlled gaming. Relatively powerful. Certainly seems to be the most powerful portable gaming device that currently exists. RIP to the OLED Switch. Didn't last very long. They announced this on the day that the pre-orders opened for. But yeah, it's an LCD screen, optically bonded LCD. Is that just an OLED? No, that's not one.
No, that's not what.
Optically bonded. They put a word with O in there to gibate us.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy means.
You know it. 60 hertz. But yeah, so basically you can download games to it. It's not specifically just a kind of a repackaging of their cloud service, and it looks very much like a Switch. They call it an all-in-one portable gaming PC. And you can also do things like run standard applications off of it, and you can plug it into a monitor and use it as a PC if you wanted to do that for some reason. So yeah, there's a couple of models that are going to be coming out for it. I'm looking at the website is an absolute catastrophe for this thing. But they've got three, like every time you try and find out what it is, it's like, hey, look at this instead. And you're like, all right, man, please chill. There's three options. There's a 349, I'm going to say this in pounds because I'm in the UK and it will not show me anything. There's something around 300. There's something around 450 and a 570. And the cheapest one is got 64 gigabytes of internal storage. Then it goes up to 256 with NVMe SSD internals, and then 512. And then the most expensive model is 512. It's got premium anti-glare etched glass, a carrying case, and a bunch of virtual keyboard themes and some shit like that.
Oh,
but
man.
it seems interesting. Michael, you up for this?
Let me see. So I am ex-tech expert over here at GameSpot, and I'll look at it. You said the base model is 64 gigabytes internal memory. You ain't installing shit on that thing.
Yeah.
You can expand it with micro SD.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
So that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's cool, but that's obviously not going to be top tier gaming as if you have an NVMe SSD, which is pretty, like, I wouldn't say standard, but I think most like mid to high end gaming PCs have some sort of SSD running most of their applications. This is fascinating, especially for, when I think about gaming PCs, and if I haven't looked at the specs, like the exact specs yet, but if it has like those AMD APUs, which are actually pretty damn good, like those aren't bad prices for what gaming PCs cost relatively, and the fact that you're getting like all of that in like an all-in-one package, that seems kind of competitive at least. I saw the Alienware prototype for what they had as a handheld gaming PC as well. Like the idea was cool, like actually holding that thing and playing something was cool, but I don't think the technology wasn't necessarily there for it to handle like PC gaming at that level. So But Steam knows. I guess they kind of know what they're doing. They've had failed hardware things, like they've had the Steam machines before that kind of they're supposed to be like a consoleized version of a PC, and then they had the Steam Link, which is actually like functionally a cool thing. I know Jean-Luc, we're talking about the Steam Link and how people who still use that thing, and then like function wise that was pretty cool, but that's been discontinued because maybe the fervor. The fervor kind of ran out with that. So maybe this is like another. They don't have like a strong history with hardware. The Steam controller was also like, this thing isn't this ain't it, chief. So it's taking another stab at it. Valve Index, I'll give credits of the Index because that's the best VR headset in the game. That shit's wild expensive though. But I don't know. I want to see the Steam Deck. I want to like actually see it functioning and see how games run on that thing. The power is there, but you're not necessarily gonna be running things in 4K, high frame rates or whatever. You can get like 1080p, 60 FPS on several games with if the APU is powerful enough. So I don't know. This could be a cool thing.
Yeah, there's some really interesting kind of like things that they have put in there. Like they've built in a suspend resume feature into Steam OS for it. And the like works with most, like it's Bluetooth ready, and it's got a USB-C port. So they've got an image of like the thing on a table with two arcade sticks hooked up to it, and they're just playing a fighting game. And then the thing that we kind of like touched on earlier, like it can be plugged into a monitor or a TV in the same way that you would with a Nintendo Switch, and it plugs in via USB-C port, and that can carry video and audio and peripherals and that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting, but it's such a weird thing. Like I don't know where it fits in. Like I can't find a hole in my current gaming life where I would fit that in. Especially given that I've been recently checking out xCloud and it works so well. And like I'm trying to figure out what is the use case for this. Like Evan, like is this something that you are interested in? Like can you think of a use case where it would work for you?
No, I'm not personally interested in this. I think like the Switch already kind of fulfills that like portable gaming gap, and for me, I would go to the Switch first because I like Nintendo's first-party games. I guess this is cool. Can you like download games for offline play and like play them offline, or do you have to be connected?
Yeah, it seems that way. It seems that you can just download to the hard drive and play it as is.
Right. So in that case, like I guess there's tons of games on Steam that, like, for example, are not on a Switch, and if you want to be able to play those portably in an easily accessible way, absolutely, this might be a good option for you. But I imagine people that are dedicated to Steam, that have that full Steam library, already have the PC set up for that, might already own a Nintendo Switch to play the games they want to play portably. I'm not sure, but I also think it's funny that they announced this today, the day the Switch OLED pre-orders go live, just to hit Nintendo in the jugular, like, no, hey, wait up before you pre-order that. Maybe you want to buy this instead. But yeah, for me personally, no, this is not something that I'm interested in.
Oh shit, go ahead.
Or Haim?
You can go first, Michael.
I'm looking. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, I want to try this thing. I want to see.
That's the thing. I want to try it. Like, I'm
looking at the Steam Deck website, and like I'm looking at the specs too, like the like 16 gigabytes of RAM. And then like the RDNA 2, like it's not the most powerful thing, obviously, but it's powerful enough to run games at 1080p, maybe medium settings, and getting like higher than 30 FPS, I would imagine. So like I can play something like Control or Doom on a portable device. This thing is clearly stronger than the Switch too. It kind of has to be. Now what I'm thinking about is battery life though. Like,
oh yeah.
Because as long like the Switch battery is decent for what it is, but this is packing a much bigger punch. So I don't know.
IGN has a hands-on with it, and I think based on that, people have been like tweeting at me saying like it's 8-ish hours, 8 to 10 hours. I'm not sure if that's 100% correct, but like there seems to be some sort of like, we'll see about that kind of
depends on the game
attitude towards that. Yeah, like if you're running a super high-end game, it'll probably just drain it.
I should add that the screen resolution is 800p, so it's 1280 by 800. So you won't have to stress the thing to run a game at even 1080p.
Right.
I'm sure. So the Switch is at 720p. It looks fine.
Yeah.
So I'm 800, like 1280 by 800. That it'll look a little bit better in terms of like fine resolution, but you'll have access to things like anti-aliasing and better frame rates. So I mean, the experience would be like, if you're comparing this to a Switch, it's probably going to be like a lot better of a visual experience, but it's not going to be like super high end. It's not like you're going to be playing, like phones have higher resolutions than this, but obviously phones aren't going to play games like Control. So there's these, I don't know, there's expectations, like set your expectations.
Yeah. I'm kind of where you guys are. I definitely want to just like, I don't know if I want to shell out all that money, but I want to play it. I want to know what it's like. I think that the most potentially interesting thing where I could see this going would be just sort of the open-endedness of it, the fact that you can like run like an operating system on it. Like people are gonna like hella mod this shit out. Emulators on it, like people are gonna go wild with that.
I was gonna say that,
like
but
an open-ended Switch where you can just be like, I'm gonna put whatever I want on it.
You want the real virtual console?
Yeah,
Here you go.
You could technically you could run Switch games on it if you wanted. Like, I mean, just don't know.
I don't know nothing about that.
Evan's gonna rat you out if you're not careful.
I think the one thing I'm a little cautious about is how like the controls feel. Just because, like, dude, man, that Steam controller, not great. Not a fan of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's looking just obviously like I haven't touched it, and I would assume they've improved their tech since then. But like looking at it, it very much is in line with sort of that. It's got the trackpad, which makes sense because, you got to give an option for kind of mouse and keyboard games. But I'm a little like, I don't know, I didn't love the way that thing felt. So like Valve hasn't proved to me that they can make a controller that I'm like into playing. I look at that, like where that D-pad is, it's like right to the left of the stick, and I'm like, that doesn't seem that great. Personally,
everything feels really pushed into the corners.
Yeah, I'm really not sure how that's gonna feel.
People are already pointing out that the B button looks like it's trying to get away from the rest of them. So it's
your like fingers gonna like slip off the edge trying to tap it.
Yeah, it's got massive Game Gear energy, and that is slightly worrying to me. Like I don't like where those buttons are placed at all, and it seems like, I mean, Haim, you can correct me, like it seems like it's going to be relatively heavy, like based on the
that thing looked chunky.
Yeah, like there's a video of a lad playing his biceps are being engaged in that video. So I'm like,
I'm looking at like their kind of GIF or video on the site of playing Jedi Fallen Order. What I will say is that, at least from what I'm seeing, that the analog sticks look nice though. That's the important thing, because I hate the Joy-Con analog sticks. I will never play a game that needs precise camera control on a Switch Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
But this one looks like, I mean, I would expect, after the Valve Index and how good those controllers are, I imagine that, Valve has learned a lot from that. And I could see some of that being that kind of being integrated into how this thing is designed. But again, like this thing look chunky, because remember that's a 7-inch screen on that thing. And then the ways in which that controller protrudes out, or like the rest of it kind of is built around that 7-inch screen, like, oh boy, that is hefty.
It's weird that it's got such a huge bezel on it, considering that was like the big thing people didn't like about the Switch, and then like the OLED like got rid of it. It's kind of it's a minor thing, but I'm just like, oh man, like
I think inevitably I'm gonna end up probably getting one of these just to try it and have it there, because we all have problems in that way where we see a new gaming thing and we're like, we gotta buy that shit. Yes. But I will say, like, this has dissuaded me from buying a Switch OLED, because now I'm like, if I can spend a decent chunk of that OLED money on a brand new device, I'll do that instead. Sure, and I do want to, like, the idea, like, I'm thinking about use cases, and there's a whole bunch of people who probably want to play PC games that can't lug around a kind of, massive rig that probably are looking at this and going, that's great, and or people who are like, you know, I'm gonna grab this and take my Xbox controller and connect it via Bluetooth, and just, you know, when I'm out at a hotel or at a friend's house, I can still play a PC game. I am interested to see if what happens when you plug in a webcam to it and download OBS and see what happens. What kind of streaming shit you could do.
Your
based
streaming
off that.
PC.
Yeah, that could be a really cute streaming PC. Do IRL streams off of it a bit easier.
Wow.
And
I would
that
love to
kind of
test
stuff.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something I would like to test. I do want to see if we can log in and write a news story on it, see what happens.
Oh god.
But yeah, I it's just the thing that I keep coming back to is we're in a many of us are in a kind of position where we're moving towards lightening the load, and you know, using cloud functionality to make gaming's easier, the footprint of portable gaming lighter. So then this big old beefy boy comes along and is like, hello, I'm here, I'm the juggernaut. So we'll see how that goes down, but I definitely am interested in checking it out.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna get one.
It's interesting too. This wasn't an E3. This could have been a big E3 thing if they wanted it, but instead they decided to do it on their own terms, like most companies seem to be doing
Valve
nowadays.
don't care.
Valve calls
Valve,
it nuts.
Valve is like E3. All my homies hate E3. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely. There's going to be a lot of interesting written and video features coming out of that. So make sure you keep your eye on GameSpot.com in the immediate future.